quiet, Georgie. Aren't you going to say hello?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 horror movie scenes, remake versus original. For this list, we'll be looking at some of the most iconic and well-known sequences from the world of horror cinema and comparing them to their remake counterparts. Keep in mind there will be spoilers for both remakes and the originals. Are there any horror remakes you feel are better than the original? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, Clown Doll Attack. Poltergeist 1982 versus Poltergeist 2015. The creepy clown attack scene from Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist is among the most well-remembered from this slice of formative 80s horror. The sequence ties into our childhood fear of the unknown, the dark, and things that go bump in the night. The hands-on production style of writer-producer Steven Spielberg is also credited with the clown's unassuming nature, at least compared to the 2015 remake. The OG clown doll is just that, a clown. It's the innocuousness of this childhood plaything that makes it frightening when it becomes possessed and attacks. The 2015 iteration? Well, it's downright creepy from the jump. And the film's over-reliance on predictable shocks makes it feel actually less scary than its older counterpart. Number 9, Camper Raid. The Hills Have Eyes 1977 versus The Hills Have Eyes 2006.
I'm in Jupiter. He's here in Mars.
You and Pluto and Mars?
We in, Papa. We in.
Alexandre Aja was riding a new wave of slasher extremity after the success of his cult horror film High Tension. As a result, he brought with him a violent and exploitative energy to his reimagining of Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes.
Big fat
This tale of backwoods murderers was already the stuff of B-movie infamy, thanks to a camper raid that sees Papa Jupiter and his demented clan assault a family who have become lost and damaged their camper. The violent attack in Aja's version amps up every shocking moment up to 11 and leaves nothing to the imagination.
No, please!
In comparison, Craven's original, though brutal for the time, can't even compare.
I come back for you later, girlie.
Number 8, Basement Deadite. The Evil Dead 1981 versus Evil Dead 2013.
Ash, I don't want to die. You're not going to leave me, are you, Ash? Are you?
I don't want to die. You're not going to leave me here, are you? Are you, Ash?
The 2013 remake of The Evil Dead continually makes lists of best horror remakes year after year, with good reason. Director Fede Alvarez was extremely respectful of Sam Raimi's source material, while simultaneously delivering changes that make his film stand out in a great way. Specifically, the updating of makeup effects for the film resulted in unique-looking deadites, such as in the scene where Jane Levy's Mia is locked up in the basement.
Don't do it, you little bitch. Don't get enough.
The addition of pupils to Levy's deadite is a nice break from the whitened eyes of the Raimi original, while the decision to retain the actor's feminine features make her perhaps less monstrous, but no less dangerous.
Don't understand. He's not gonna let you leave. And he's not gonna stop until he has you. Until he has all of you!
Number 7, Nell in Bed. The Haunting 1963 versus The Haunting 1999.
Are you awake? Don't say a word, Theo, not a word. Don't let it know you're in my room.
On one hand, we can't exactly blame directors in the late 90s for wanting to capitalise as best they could on the burgeoning CGI industry. Yet, at the same time, they call them classics for a reason, and The Haunting remake from 1999 just can't compare with the class and atmosphere of the original from '63. This is because the scene with Nell in bed does so much with so little. It tells a tale of psychosis and paranoia, using only subtle visual cues and creepy sound design.
Hold my hand, Theo. Oh, for God's sake, don't scream.
Compare this with the CGI enhancements from 1999, and the end results feel more modern, sure, but also hokey and dated. Number 6. Decapitation. The Omen 1976 versus The Omen 2006.
I won't do it!
Well, if you don't do it, I will.
The decapitation scene from the 1976 The Omen is a pivotal sequence that shocked moviegoers of the day. That said, the 2006 remake had some big shoes to fill when it came time for its cast and crew to replicate that scene, and for the most part, they did a great job.
There is no devil, there is no God, there is only here and now and life. And that is something I would never take away from any man, certainly not my own son.
If he won't, I will.
There's a nice blend of CGI and practical effects that make the decapitation feel visceral, while also being able to showcase even more graphic violence. The OG had a wealth of practical expertise behind its execution, and it definitely looks iconic, but we think that both of these scenes look great in their own way. Number 5. Nightmare and Death. A Nightmare on Elm Street 1984 versus A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010.
Please, God.
This is God.
If you ever get a chance to check out the behind-the-scenes footage about how Wes Craven and crew shot Tina's iconic death scene from the original Nightmare on Elm Street, you'll never bother with the 2010 remake ever again. This is due to the ingenuity and skill the original put into place to create the Dream Demon attack when Freddy Krueger slays Tina in her sleep. The assault feels palpable and painful, while Chris's similar scene from 2010, though graphic, doesn't possess the same pathos.
Found you.
It's similarly stylish, but sometimes you just can't beat a good classic scare. Number 4. Georgie's Death. It 1990 versus It 2017.
I, Georgie, am Pennywise the Dancing Clown. You are Georgie. So now we know each other.
We all know that casting can be of the utmost importance when bringing a horror film to the screen. This is particularly true when adapting a well-known character, such as that of Pennywise from Stephen King's classic horror novel, It. For readers of a certain age, it was Tim Curry who first terrorized them back in 1990 with his portrayal of the evil force masquerading as a creepy clown.
Stay afloat. And when you're down here with me, you float too!
Curry's killing of Georgie is savage, yet also played with deceptive and disarming charisma. Compare this performance to that of Bill Skarsgård, whose Pennywise never even approaches disarming, and is instead downright horrifying from the moment we see his face.
Pennywise? Yes, meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise.
Both demises are harrowing, though the updated version reminds us it's not edited for television. Number 3. Dracula Comes for Lucy. Dracula 1931 versus Horror of Dracula 1958 versus Bram Stoker's Dracula 1992.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
The element of eroticism and sensuality have been intrinsically linked with Count Dracula, specifically with his relationship to Lucy. Bela Lugosi's captivating stare holds victims in a trance, while the Hammer films possess a penchant for amped-up levels of blood and female décolletage.
Count Dracula. I am Dracula, and I welcome you to my house.
Here, Christopher Lee's Dracula is even more charming and debonair, a seductive presence preparing for the more permissive 1960s. This is nothing compared to Gary Oldman's Dracula, however, as this film is perhaps, and pardon our bluntness, the horniest of all blood-sucking films.
The children of the night. What sweet music, Dagmar.
Dracula's turning of Lucy here is of a far more bestial nature, embracing both the carnal and savage nature of vampirism. Number 2, Prom Destruction, Carrie 1976 versus Carrie 2013. The fiery telekinetic finale of Brian De Palma's Carrie is one of the most iconic sequences ever filmed for the horror genre. This is thanks largely to the director's own personal style and tropes he puts into play to make the film his own. We're referring to De Palma's noted usage of split screen, as he presents Carrie White's mental breakdown in one frame and the destructive, deadly results in the other. It's superbly stylish stuff, and can't be touched by the 2013 remake, although it should be said that this version does definitely go for gusto. It just lacks the idiosyncratic vision of De Palma as an auteur, an approach that ultimately makes all the difference. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Shower Scene, Psycho 1960 versus Psycho 1998. What happens when a director intentionally makes a shot-for-shot remake of a classic horror scene? Well, one could argue that this feels extraneous, and critics did indeed feel this way when Gus Van Sant remade Psycho in the late 90s. The set pieces and blocking for the legendary shower scene do their best to perfectly mimic Alfred Hitchcock's original. So, aside from some curious cloud coverage, the only difference we're left with is the face of our lead, the late great Anne Heche. Her and her co-star Vince Vaughn do their best to step into the shoes of Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins, but what we're essentially left with is a carbon copy. And who really wants to watch that? Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.